One.
So I did a lot of thinking over the weekend, and I figured out what's wrong. The Bulls took the vacation in August, and the Bears didn't. Bulls fought back a little bit on Friday. Some of the big stocks are leading us out. We'll see if it can continue. Kenny hit the bid Glick at 8:35. What more could you ask for on a Monday morning on Premarket Prep?
Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Premarket Prep with your hosts, Joel Elconin
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
and Dennis Dick,
I'm bidding a penny. I'd buy that stock for a penny.
with everything you need to start your trading day.
All right, good morning, traders and investors. I finally can say we're trading in the green in the pre-market, up 23 and three quarters handles at 44.0650. Nowhere near Friday's low overnight and above Friday's high. We'll see if the Bulls can remain in control today. They haven't been doing a very good job. Uh, Buck is in the red by 20 cents at 103.07. Bonds down again, almost a point in the mid 118 handle. Crude up 90 cents at 81.55. Gold, one of its worst periods in years, but it's up today, $6, 1922 and a half. Silver, that's back over 23. That's up 31 cents at 23.04. And Bitcoin, you'd be hoping for a little bit more of a bounce in Bitcoin. I have the futures flat at 26,020. Good morning, Triple D. Triple D, shake out those cobwebs.
Yeah.
And what if I told you that the S&P, well, it's been down 4 sessions in a row. We've been down 12 out of 14 sessions. One was a 40-point rally, and other one does a scratch. Does it feel like that? You were
Yeah,
talking
it
about
does.
it
It
does,
does.
doesn't
It
it?
feels very oversold. It felt very oversold a few days ago when I tried to turn bullish, and then we just continued going down here. I think, it felt like a turning point again on Friday. It feels like we're oversold. It doesn't feel like it's the bottom or anything like that. But, there was nice trading action on Friday, and we love seeing the turns on the options expirations because that's where you often see the turns. S&Ps weak all morning. They turned around in the afternoon and they started buying them, and they kept buying them all day. And that's where we're seeing it here. We're seeing, the market's moving up. So I got an invader here. She wants to say hi. Come say hi. She's
Is
just
it-
waking up.
could you tell her thank you? Just give her.
Are you bullish or bearish, Natalie? She doesn't know what she is. She says, no, I'm gone. I just stole your phone.
That's all
Shut the
she
door.
needed.
So
So
we're,
you're
we're right here. We've bounced. Now the question is, can this bounce from Friday's lows hold? It's a nice continuation overnight, though. And the stocks you want to see bounce are the stocks that are bouncing this morning. Nvidia's up another $10. Obviously, reports earnings on Wednesday. And then you have Tesla bouncing nicely up $7 too. After you were calling this, Joel, Jonas is starting to turn a little bit bearish on the stock in that note. And you're like, you said it Friday morning. You're like, there's ever going to be a turning point for Tesla. It's going to be when Jonas starts turning bearish. And you know what? Kind of open near the lows there on the Morgan Stanley note, and it's kind of trying to turn around.
Yeah, I mean, in the two teens, like under 215, 216. I mean, I was a little bit tongue in cheek when I said that, but yeah, couldn't find any specific news for it. But it's traded up 668, and just do a real quick technical on that one because this thing can move all around. We're probably
Yeah.
through Friday's high, right? So, we're quite a bit through Friday's high. So you get into the old gap situation again. If I saw it at 217.58, I would love to see a gap fill on that one. And be careful out here if you're trying to short it or you have a long. Next two daily highs are 226.74 and then closer to 234. So that's for Tesla. Now that you've taken yourself off the low, you're going to find buyers. I mean, even buyers ahead of that gap fills. So Tesla's helping us out, but I think the real driver this morning is Nvidia. And
It is.
boy, oh boy, two analysts hopping on the bandwagon again.
Yeah, we've got, if we go to the trusty Benzinga Pro, bring up NVIDIA, you can see two analysts raising their price target here this morning. You got KeyBank maintaining their overweight, but they're raising their price target to 620. Then you got HSBC maintaining their buy, same thing as the overweight, raising their price target to 780. So, and then you had Dan Ives talking as well, Joel, and you can talk about what Dan Ives is saying, but he's always been bullish and he's been correct. But he's talking bullish here ahead of the quarter as well.
I just I saw the Dan Ives things first, and the way that he's having a material effect on stocks. I thought that was the primary catalyst, and then you mentioned two more upgrades, as Jay
It's just
Rice
all
said.
analysts. It's
Yeah,
analyst commentary that is just driving this stock, and they won't let off. So we know, like, it's to imagine, like, everybody knows last quarter. Everybody's nervous to be short this stock going into the quarter. It's Wednesday night. And so you got three more full trading days ahead of it. But if you were short this thing, I'd be nervous going into the quarter. They absolutely blew it away last quarter. Maybe the expectations are too high, but I get why, analysts are hedging themselves up ahead of time. So I would not be surprised if this stock breaks out through 450 ahead of the quarter. I don't know what's going to happen on the quarter. The expectations are going to be super high after last quarter, so I think it could actually disappoint. But ahead of the quarter, there's a lot of people who are going to be talking about the stock. It's going to be nonstop on CNBC because that's the report this week. I mean, I'm looking at the earnings calendar there from the Benzinga Pro. You got Lowe's, you got a few retail stocks reporting. You got Marvell, Ulta, Workday, but Nvidia stands out like a sore thumb. It's like the report for this week. It basically ends earnings season. So this is the stock that everybody is going to be talking about. And when they start talking about it, stocks start going higher. So it's not surprising that NVIDIA here over the weekend is up another 2.5%.
Yeah, trading at the highs of the pre-market session. I'm not sure where to buy this thing on a pullback because I think people that got stuck on it on Friday are going to be bidding ahead of Friday's high at 35.78. The next two highs, if you want targets on the upside, are 40, 45, 46.75 and 52.68. There'd be a 4 in front of that. But I would just caution one thing, okay? With all these analysts come out, you don't want to get palantired. You know what I mean by that, Dennis?
Was there a lot of analysts chasing Palantir? I can't even remember.
On this day right here, if I could find my arrow, this day right here, Mr. Ives and Wedbush came out and said, you absolutely have to own this stock. It's a must-own stock. You got to have it in your portfolio. It went up that day. And then it popped up. Then you had, so if you didn't think it was real, and then it popped up the next day, you're like, this is for real. And then I think it's more market dynamics.
The bubble burst and all this, all these companies that, the AI bubble. And again, I think the AI is real. I think the bubble is going to reinflate, but the temporary AI bubble burst. We know at the beginning of August. And Palantir was, affected by that. Would you buy the pullback in Palantir? Maybe we should talk about this one, Joel. Technically speaking, 1356, the low back on June the 23rd, and the low Friday, 1368, not too far away from a double bottom there. That's also, if you probably talk about a 50% retracement going, let's say, from the 8 to the 20, that would not be 12 points, knock off 6. Kind of the 50% retracement too. Ducks are kind of in a row here. And if you think the AI story continues, Palantir might be a buy in here.
Well, if you were listening to Pre-Market Prep on Friday morning, as you can see this bottom here between 8 and 9 o'clock is when this broadcast begins. Or we might listen it later on, and that's to your
about it.
Yeah, you're just disadvantage. I talked about that 1356 area, and I think it would even had traded a little bit below it. And it was like one of those things. Also, a couple other, 14 was a little bit too high, but you got that opening print. You only had a small dip and a nice move. So, yes, or Friday, if you would have asked me that, I would have been, more prone to say, hey, I could throw a bet out there, 1375, 1380, come and get me. Now, I think if you're going to want to do that same strategy, I think you have to look for maybe unchanged, maybe a quick seller come in off the open and knock it down. But their earnings reports all the way, is out of the way. We have the catalyst for Ives, so I think what you'll need is a good market to keep Palantir going.
Square
As
also bounced at support too, Joel. We talked about the 55, and we just breached it Friday morning for like a split second, and then it blasted off. So it's interesting that some of these stocks are bouncing at major support. I tried to buy the DraftKings. I was hoping it would come down a little bit more. I was sitting out there in my long-term account at 25, I think 10, and it didn't quite get there. Got down to 25.41, and then she took off, and now it's up at 27 here again. So I was trying to get the DraftKings at that major support of 25, but I think like the Bulls have a case here. Not saying the bear, little sell-off is over, but the Bulls have a case because we bounced at some pretty critical numbers on some key stocks. You have some leadership here. The Bulls have a case until Wednesday, and then it's going to be about Nvidia. And does Nvidia harpoon them, or does Nvidia, give them life? That's going to be so. I think you could see a little bit of strength ahead of Nvidia's report as people are excited about that. And then Nvidia had better blow it away, or the bull case could end very quickly.
Yeah, and then you move later in the week, you got Jackson Hole, and there'll be a lot. Might take those 2 days off while they're markets moving 20, 30, 40, 50 handles on each comment. But just going back to the Feds, to the Fed, I mean, it appears they're taking the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, right? Until they get some more numbers, they get some more information. I don't think there's any new information out there really that's going to come out of Jackson Hole. I just, they're going to say, well, we're fighting inflation, but we don't know if it's done for good. We may consider more hikes. I mean, that's just the mantra. And
What
they're
day is Jackson Hole?
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get much new information there either. It's
Nope.
all going to be about Nvidia. I mean, I think you could get a little relief rally here because we've had a pretty significant sell-off for the next couple of days, but then it's about Nvidia, and then it's about fundamental news because we know, and I've said this on the show for years, fundamentals trump technicals every single day when they're coming. So Nvidia report will move the market. It doesn't matter really what's happening technically. Obviously, run-ups, are considered because Nvidia's run up, so you have to consider the technicals within everything. But I mean, if Nvidia blows it away again, you could see the market starting to, continue to move up. But if Nvidia says anything, that the market doesn't like, they will harpoon it because it is priced for perfection.
What's the one word that they shouldn't use, Dennis?
Don't
In all your
use
years of
Don't use gradual. We know the Microsoft call, and that is what harpooned their own stock. It was holding up well. It's really hard to harpoon this earnings season because it was early in the earnings season, and we were all excited. AI story and the Microsoft, earnings were out, and they weren't great, but they weren't that bad. And then they said that earnings growth from AI would be gradual, or revenue growth. Revenue growth from AI would be gradual. And that is not what the market wanted to hear. And I watched the stock on that comment fall $5, and it just really continued down ever since. So that was really what harpooned the stock. Was you got this AI bubble, and the Microsoft probably was bigger than any of them, and it obviously moved the stock up to 32 times earnings. And then they came out on the call and said that it was going to be, the growth was going to be gradual. You had to hear robust. You had to hear something else. So Nvidia, do not use the word AI growth will be gradual. They will destroy the stock if they
small tangent here, because the bots. What are the bots programming? All right, because they're not going to say gradual. But what if
they program gradual? They short. If they hear gradual, they are short.
No. What about moderate?
That would be a bad word too.
Measured.
Moderate. Get the cinnamon. So go in.
I got it.
Cinnamons for gradual.
I got it.
You're already ahead of me. What are they?
Slow. They won't say
slow,
that. Moderate. Measured.
Don't like that either.
Unhurried. That doesn't. Restrained.
No, we don't like
cautious,
that either.
circumspect.
No. None of those words. Don't use any of those words in video. Now let's go to the words that you should use. Go to synonyms for robust. So robust would be a fantastic word. That's what you want to hear on the NVIDIA call. But we'll also give you some synonyms. So bots, we're talking to you bots out there. Program these in. If you hear AI growth robust, It equals buy. What else
Strong.
can we hear?
Strong.
Strong's good.
Vigorous.
Vigorous isn't a great word. Vigorous is a great word.
Sturdy.
Sturdy. I don't know. It's sturdy.
Powerful.
Powerful sounds good.
As strong as a horse ox.
If they use as strong as a horse ox, that would be the greatest comment on a call ever. As strong as a horse ox. Welcome back to like the 19th century. As strong as a horse ox. AI growth as strong as a horse ox.
I guess.
Okay, we better get. We got to bring Mitch back in here eventually. Here
Oh,
to bring
yeah,
us in.
we
Mitch
will.
is coming soon. Mitch is going to be here. People asking about it because he would rein us in right now. And this is the problem when we don't have money, Mitch. We don't get reined in. Rain us in. Mitch is going to be here very soon.
Yeah, he'll be here at the bottom of the hour. So Dennis, I know it like you're one of the few people, like all us normal people on Wall Street, at 4:00, we're done. And maybe we'll look at some numbers or do some levels, but we walk away from the desk. Unlike you, who's pounded it out a lot of times until 8 p.m. You had a little fireworks to play with. Palo Alto Networks at
It's unbelievable.
4:05.
Why? I don't know why they report. I've never seen that on a Friday night. You get a major report like that, and they moved it to Friday night. And then people were speculating, oh, it's going to be crappy because they're moving it to Friday night because there's no traders at their desk. But everybody stuck around for it. So, and you know what? It was pretty good, Joel. You got the numbers in front of you?
144 versus 128.
Nice.
Sales, just a itsy bitsy teeny miss, 1.95 versus 1.96. But hey, look at the guidance. The guidance on Q1 EPS, $1.15 versus $1.17 versus $1.11 estimate. Revenue, same thing. Bumped up the revenue for the fiscal year and for the quarter. And you know what? We looked at this chart on the closing print with me and Josh, and I was just thinking, how could you be short that stock going in that report? I mean, and I think that's what a lot of people were thinking on Friday. I don't know why we had to gap down earlier in the month. I don't know if it was downgrade.
Tech sell-off, valuation,
yeah, the tech sell-off.
Valuation contraction, yeah.
Yep. 259 to what, man? You almost got 58. I mean, you've had basically a 25-point, you've had a 30-point move, and you're over that. The only thing I would look at here, if I was an investor trader short term, you're filling the gap down area at 33.81. You're filling this whole gap. So make sure it holds that 33.81. And the next daily high that comes into place is 238.75. But looks strong up here. We'll see what happens when the liquidity comes in.
Here's the problem, though, is that this stock is getting back the majority of its August losses, and you're going to have a lot of happy sellers up here at 240. So it's hard to chase it up here. Bears, bulls are in control for a day, but bears have been in control for the month. And you're coming in, if you're buying this up 12%, wow, you're ever chasing because this thing saw 201 Friday morning, now 235. We're just not in this rip-roaring bull market where stocks that go up 35 go up 80. It's just not May. It's not January. It's just a different market right now. So I'm not chasing anything. I see all that consolidation in the 240 area before the sell-off, and it makes me think that old support becomes new resistance.
What if you took it had the initial dip in August and it went back to 220 and you're thinking everything's okay, right? And then 215, 220, those are really good numbers. I'm buying those calls. Boom, Friday morning, 201. They suck all the premium out of those calls that you bought earlier. And now your 220s are in the money by $15 after being out of the money by $19. I mean, probably with the premium, you're probably up a little bit the way they suck the premium out of it, but that's exactly the way that I would look at it. I mean, just a nice pop here. We'll see where the liquidity comes in. Looks like you're quiet here. Dennis, sympathy plays for this one. CrowdStrike.
There's a million, Fortinet, FTNT, but the problem is a lot of them have already reported. So one thing to consider, you sympathy traders out there, if you already know the report, it's not as good. We know Fortinet already reported, it got hammered on it. So, I mean, it's not like it's going to, Fortinet report's going to be really good. Oh, no, we found out about Fortinet 2 weeks ago and it wasn't good. So that's, where we stand here. But there's just a ton of these, cyber. So if you want to just look at Hack, HACK is an ETF, That's, one that's obviously encompasses a lot of these different names there. It's going to be up here this morning. It hasn't traded higher, but it's bid higher. It's going to trade higher because Palo Alto's in it. But there's a lot of cybersecurity names here. CYBR, you think about, there's just a pile of them.
Okay, CYBR. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, yeah.
CrowdStrike's one we always think about. CRWD. I do like CrowdStrike. Again, it's valuation though for me. So Crowd's up $5 here. I think we heard from Crowd. That was a while ago though. Like CRWD, I feel was like a month and a half ago, like a long time ago. I feel like the CrowdStrike report was. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it was like a while ago.
Wow, look at this just real quickly. I was just going through these charts, and I know it's a ways away. But man, if you're a CrowdStrike trader, keep an eye on like 162, 163. I mean, I know you traded a little bit above it this month, going up to
Yeah.
66. But if you could ever, I mean, that's still $9 away. Wow, this is tradethechannel.com, Dennis. 140 to 160. If that had been your strategy over the last 3 months, I mean, you would be doing pretty good. Now you're right in the middle here at 150, but got some room. Not the catalyst is the PNAW, so be careful on that one if you're buying it off the open. Dennis, did you read your Barons at all this weekend, or are you too busy working on your shed?
I was working on the shed, did not read Barron's, and I did a little bit of
Okay.
voting.
There's and in these stocks, if you're looking for gutter stocks, they got Moderna and BNTX, we spoke about favorably, and they
Oh,
just
they were
said,
favorably? What's
yeah,
Barron's? It's crazy that Barron's.
yeah,
I've been
yep,
speaking unfavorably about BNTX for a long time. And Moderna has joined, I obviously talked about a potential pair trade being long Moderna. I wonder where I'd be in that if I had that, a potential pair trade. I remember Moderna was about 135 maybe, and BNTX was a lot higher than this. Well, maybe it's the same. So
okay,
it has come back. BNTX has bounced back in the last few weeks. What is the cast? Why do they think
okay.
that
I just get
BNTX and
okay.
Moderna are? Read it to me.
You'll love this. They are no longer minting money from COVID.
Yeah, no,
Okay, but
obviously.
both but both have strong drug pipelines and plenty of cash. I didn't say it. Andrew
They
Berry
got a
said
lot of
it.
cash. We'll give Moderna the cash because they made a lot of cash during COVID. So that's the one thing. And you look at this and people, argue the PE on this thing all the time. The thing I've argued is that EE is going to drop substantially because not as many people getting the shot. So I mean, forward PE, I don't even know where it's at here now, but they have a lot of cash. They have the flu shot and the other stuff cooking, but it's just the buzz. Like the story sometimes cools off, and then there's cases where the story is over. The Moderna, BioNTech, Novavax story, Pfizer. Pfizer's got so many other drugs, so they're going to be okay. But the COVID shot story is over. When WHO said the pandemic is officially over, that was the signal to not own these stocks. So, and I mean, the signal to not own these stocks was a long time ago. They've been coming off here substantially here. What was the high in Moderna back during the COVID bubble?
I got it right here for you, baby.
$500, close to it.
Oh no, you're off. 497.49.
497.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't jump on this. Maybe if they give me a new story, we can say, oh, they have a strong
there you go.
pipeline, they have something.
Yep.
But I want to hear like, what's your revenue source, your substantial revenue source coming to replace the COVID shots? Because that COVID gravy train for these companies is over.
Right. And this is what's going to happen with the Moderna is that, let's say you don't buy it, you're considering buying it, right? And then who knows? I don't know what's in their pipeline. I don't do any PDUFA work, but like one morning, you're going to wake up and it's going to be up $40. And I don't
Maybe.
know if it's going to be
But it might be down
maybe.
40 before it does that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I know that a lot of people talk about the procedure that they use is, you know, um, could lead the way to discovering more drugs. You gotta. I mean, it just has a setup here, at least on the dailies. It's breaking out a. No, it's not. No, you got yesterday's high. That's keep an eye on that. 107 26. See if you can even get over that. It's $5 from the previous high, and the other high right there was at 106 and a half. That's on the daily. So see what happens on that one. Maybe if you're trying to pick it up on the cheap, unchanged. BNTX, That's moved up off its low, but I don't know. I thought I would bring those to
Well, and they're up
your
here this
attention.
morning. So we know Barron's used to be a huge market mover. It can still move stocks though. So a lot of people still read Barron's. So if they're positive on it, it can be market moving. So we got to talk it.
Did you get involved in the disaster stock of the day? This might be such a little one that you don't even follow it. It's a security
Probably
stock.
not.
NSCC.
No. What is
Okay.
that? I don't even know what that is.
It
And
is, or either do I, because
NSSC?
yeah, boy, my dyslexia is keep kicking in again.
I don't know
Yep.
anything about this company.
Yeah. Well,
Is this
it's here.
earnings or something?
Yep, yep, yep. Let's see. Well, they got downgraded here, but I believe it was a Friday dump too after the close. They gave preliminary results, net sales of 44.7 million and net income between 10 and 11
The
million.
Friday dump.
Yeah,
Nobody will notice if we just dump this crappy earnings report on a Friday night. Maybe they will.
How about this? Restatement of the prior 3 quarters
I never want to hear that either. Those aren't good.
and guidance
Like
no
the money we made, we really didn't make it, guys.
and and also this is a good one. So estimates should no longer be relied upon.
Financial irregularities is what Spinner is saying. Yeah, so all that when they're restating quarters and stuff and they're doing stuff wrong, they sell those stocks hard. Kramer always says, and he's absolutely correct, counting irregularities, equals sell. When you're restating quarters, that equals sell for me too. So I'm not interested in buying this. Sorry.
What about Zoom heading into the report after the close?
Was long it?
Yeah.
Ahead because I've already sold it here this morning, so I sold it ahead of the show, and yeah, it's trading up here ahead of the report. I think the expectations are very low here. I think that one, Zoom is sneaky like a value play. A lot of people don't think of it that way, but it's the COVID stock that had the inflated earnings from before, and its PE is 15, 16. It's like the value stock. Can it keep
Has it
holding on
really
to those
got
earnings?
that low?
It was even lower than that before, Joel. I think the earnings have slowed down. I think the PE was in the low 10s, 11s at one time. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
Okay.
its PE is low. So what we've argued with Zoom on this show for a long time is it needs something else. It can't be the one trick pony anymore because the value is there, but we know there's so much competition. I mean, we used to use Zoom. We still use it on some of our other stuff, but StreamYard. There's just obviously Microsoft has come in with their products, Cisco, WebEx, and I mean Teams like from Microsoft. There's just so much competition here. So can they continue to make the money that they're making, or can they find a way to grow? That's what they need to do, is find that way to grow. But the expectations are very low here. So if they say anything okay, this stock could have a relief rally, because you know what? This stock has been down, not so much in the last month or two, but it's been down for just a long time. I mean, back in 2022, this is a $200 stock. If you go further back than that, this at one time during the COVID bubble was a $588
Can you
stock.
believe that?
Had no business ever being that high, but it does have business being 67. This is a real company that makes real money. I'm not coming in and buying it because I want to see where the growth is going to come from, but I'll tell you, the expectations are low here. And if you're taking a shot on this, I think if they say anything okay, the stock could rally.
All right, one more here before we bring Mitch on here. How about the hurricane trade? Have you been looking at your weather app, Dennis? If you need a catalyst here
Well,
for
what was this one over off California? They never get them over there. What materialized with that? There was a tropical storm over near California. I got to go Google that. But what happened with that over the weekend?
I've heard. Well, it was supposed to be the worst thing ever, and now it's been downgraded. And I don't know. I mean, that if you want to rely
you
on
don't
the
get them
weather,
over on that side.
no, I know, but it is giving a boost to Generac here.
It was Hillary.
Yeah, Hurricane Hillary. It is giving a boost to Generac. If you're wondering why that's trading higher, traded over 117, 117.62. What do we have here? That was actually Friday's high. So if you wanna, if you're looking for more follow through, get to Friday's high, and then things are wide open from that earnings day. So that is a look at Generac.
I wouldn't be chasing Generac on Hillary. I'll say that. I am
No?
long Generac because there's value here. It's in the long-term account, but I'm not chasing it on Hillary.
Okay, we gave Mitch time to get that extra cup of coffee in. Come on, Money
He's
Mitch,
here.
where are
Money
you?
Mitch has
Let's
been
see.
hiding in the background there.
Let's see that smile.
Pinkies up, baby. Pinkies up. Let's go. Let's
Is
get
that the
to the
bros?
action.
Is that the
Oh
bros?
no, that's the Bustelo. Bustelo,
You're not
baby.
drinking the bros anymore? What happened?
What happens is they're out west. They need to move out east, man.
Oh, you moved. Oh my gosh, there's no stores around you there.
Yeah,
I
that's
forgot.
why I
We
hold
haven't
it
been
as
drinking
a
the bros
gift.
for a while.
It's a souvenir. It's a souvenir, guys. It stays with
I
me
didn't know
everywhere.
they weren't out there, so they're not out by you. We need
One
the
thing that I'd
bros out
mention about
there.
that is Starbucks has been getting hit lately. I think that's all on troubles in China. So names that have, a big exposure to China, I definitely keep an eye out on those because those keep coming down. We heard from China over the weekend, they lowered their lending rates by only 10 basis points, trying to spike things up. But multiple banks coming in here, like UBS, also coming in here and downgrading China's economic growth forecast. So any big names with exposure to China, they don't get that, that true fiscal stimulus. I don't know if they're going to be able to turn this thing around.
Ah, boy.
I'll
China,
tell
you
you
want
one
you
thing
want
with China. Every time we count them out, it gets another pop. We've kind of just been in a trading range here. And
Yep.
the FXI, if you look at the chart, it's kind of getting towards the bottom of the range again here. So I'd be more inclined to actually buy China stocks down here. Now, again, not a long-term account, but as a trade, do you bounce at this FXI? Do you bounce at this 25.5, 26 area again? We've bounced out of here
we
a couple
have.
of times. EEM, same story. I mean, look at this EEM, and that's obviously gives you a lot of different
Oh,
countries, not just China. But yeah, huge support down here at 38 on EEM. So you're back at support.
yeah, 38. Yeah, those have just had some big moves. I know China, they're calling them surprise moves that they did over the weekend as far as what they're doing with their race. They're really trying to jumpstart the economy, and I don't know how they're going to do it. So, but that's what they said. Goldman and UBS came out and downgraded their forecasts for China. So that's kind of like a mixed bag. Let's just take a look at the Bobster. Alibaba, look at that thing. No, that's not Alibaba. This is Alibaba. Got into triple digits. And now it's back in the 80 handle. So
Every
if
time you
you
bought in the low 80s or mid 80s, so you've been making money in the last year.
That's
So
true.
I think you don't argue. The trend is your friend. And, you get this thing down to about 83, 84. I think you strike again. Now, again, we know the Taiwan, harpoon could happen at any time. So there's always a high risk there. And that's why I think a lot of people lay off this. But I mean, that doesn't look like it's imminent. So do you take a shot at 83, 84 on Baba? I think you do.
all
All
right,
right, let's go
go ahead.
to Broadcom as they're providing regulatory update on that VMware deal, and you saw VMware up a pretty good amount there in the pre-market. This continues, of course. Expected transaction will close on schedule was the headline there. Are you guys playing this anyway?
I trade this, and again, remember Broadcom was an AI play, and a cheaper AI play because the PE is sitting around 19 or 20. It might have expanded from when I looked at it last. I liked Broadcom down at 750, and then it had the huge move, and then it pulled back, and I kind of liked it back in June. I had the pullback here. I think you got to come down further though for me to get really too excited about it. But again, it's a value AI play here, so. BMW is obviously off the deal. Whether it goes or not, I don't know. So I'm just kind of, not really trading the BMW. But the Broadcom on a serious pullback, I kind of like it.
All right, let's go ahead. Well, we'll take a look at that AVGO. Any levels there you got, Joel, for us?
Something just sticking out on the dailies here. I don't know if it's going to come into play, but you got to get that whale out of there at 854. I know that doesn't do you any good right now because it's trading at below that, but look at that. There's a triple top right there. I mean, 850 to 854. That's a major area of resistance, and you are above Friday's high. So your next target on the upside would be 839.42.
We are leaking here. Does anything just on the S&Ps? I know you're usually the guy that's watching the S&Ps so closely, but we're starting to leak here again here.
Sorry, my elbow.
Is that you, Mitch? Mitch in
Sorry,
the
my elbow.
background. He's got
I
the
was
elbow on the
tired. I
sell
was
button
tired,
here.
guys. I was tired. You know how it goes
Blaming Mitch
sometimes.
here for this one. The sell off
All
here.
right,
No,
we'll
we're
see what
leaking a little
happens.
bit. Tech. So just overall market talk. Tech relatively strong here today. Not a lot of relative weakness. I know J&J is having an awful day. Was there a headline on J&J? Is that more like I'm nervous about J&J? You know why I am. Same reason Kramer is about the lawsuits. But was there a headline here on J&J or an analyst commentary? Because I'm looking at Johnson Johnson down $3 here now. That's starting to look a little
Got
bit
all
uglier.
those losses back. I was going to alert you to that. All those
I
losses
think
back.
that and we talked about it at 172, 173 when it came back, and I'm just like same thing. Oh wait, there was that spin-off thing happening.
Yeah, that's what's happening
KBUE.
here. It's a little bit confusing, so I'm trying to read through it here so I can
Yeah,
say it the right way. But
yeah.
really, that's what it's about. The Johnson Johnson announced that based on preliminary results, its previously announced offer to its shareholders to exchange their shares of Johnson & Johnson shares for Kenvue owned by Johnson & Johnson was oversubscribed. So
Okay.
that's the news that's out there that's affecting Johnson & Johnson right now.
Okay.
All right, Joel, let's go to your ES outlook here.
Yeah, I mean, we are leaking here after a nice rally. So on a daily, I just see if we fall back to mid range, and that's 91 and a quarter. That's 8-9 handles lower. I think you just got patient buyers out here. Two closes right at the 43.80 level. So I'm looking at that as a buy zone if we get that low. If we take out that pre-market high, not much to look at as far as daily resistance go. Thursday's highs way up there at 44.37.
All right, Joel's hopping out of here, and I'm going to hit a tag with none other than our guest today. You have a good one, Joel. Let's go to our guest today.
All right.
Tagging in the Warlock, baby. We're going to hit the bid.
There he is.
How we doing?
All right.
Glick. What's going on, Kenny?
What's shaking, boys? How was the weekend?
Hey, ready for another round, right? That's the only thing we can always do. I always say there's weekend warriors and there's weekday warriors. So let's get after it, of course. The markets are moving around. We finally got a little bit of a hit here. I wanted to start it off with Kenny. Kenny, and I have to say this, guy. You at least know how to vacation, my friend. That's one thing I'll definitely give you. I saw it. I saw it, man. My man doing it right over there in
Oh my
Greece,
gosh.
Santorini. Oh, man, come on. Dennis,
Where are
we're
you,
doing
man?
it wrong, man. We're doing it wrong. We got to get it right.
At Santorini, I had a room in a cave. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We always live by curious from our guests that come on. So I'll tell you that right there.
Yeah, if you're going to Greece.
I know Dennis and I, we were there. We were there also. We'll say that at least.
Yeah, we're there vicariously
Nice.
through you there, Kenny.
Go to Crete. Crete's better than Santorini. So
yeah. All right.
Beautiful. How long were you out there, Kenny?
10 days. We did Athens, Crete, and Santorini.
When you're out there?
Doing something right?
When you go away, do you just like log out and like forget the markets, or do you actually trade when you're out there?
Not one trade. It was great. I didn't even smoke weed while I was out there. What happened?
Well, what happened?
I took a vacation from my
wife.
life.
Listen to Premarket Prep. We got to
that's all I did. That's all I did.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we got a nice cannabis event at Benzinga in Chicago coming up, but we can keep going. Let's get to the stock market. I heard. Could you possibly be getting bearish this market?
Well, last I was on, I was. The funny thing is the market started taking off in April, and I got a little left out. And I was like, listen, if it's going to be portfolio building time, I could do that also. So I picked 20 stocks. I was going over them with you, the AAOIs, all the X stocks, NNOX, ENVX, GDLX, CDLX. I owned them all, and they were all coming out of those 3-year patterns. But then I don't like owning stocks, so I quickly sold most of those stocks, and it was a really nice time to sell. And then my biggest position was shorting the Qs, because the Qs finally gave way, and we were looking for 357.50. We got it. We overshot on Friday, and here we are. So I am looking to short this market again if we break Friday's lows, and that's it. So right now we won the bet. We caught the Qs from 182.50 down to 357.50. That was my big idea. Right now I'm back to being a day trader, just looking for action again. And Pan W is on the list, right back to earnings, right back to what I do best, is just stay for the individual achievement awards on a daily basis. Right now, I'm pretty much done with stocks except for rig. I'm buying rig on every dip. even though Josh Brown said he liked it, which kind of makes me not like it as much.
We
No
like
offense to Josh
Josh.
Brown, but he tends to top out my stocks, but he does bottom out stocks too. So
I
it's
know
like,
how that can be. I know how that can be. Let's get into the other action. Of course, lately the momentum names have really started to come down. Of course, I think the first one really to break was that Upstart chart that was just pretty nasty on the downside. And of course, there's stocks coming down like Carvana, Affirm. How do you feel about the momentum names?
oh, it all went to crap. You know, again, once the momentum on the upside broke, you got momentum to the downside. And right now you're in limbo. People are looking for a new catalyst. People are looking for something, to get us going in another direction. But I like the chop. I like the fact that I could sell stocks now and not have them go up 20% the next day without me. That's when I knew the market wasn't going down anymore. Everything I sold kept going up. I sold the Rivian, kept going up. I sold the Carvana, kept going up. And I was forced to buy everything back because I didn't want to miss out. But once that momentum turned, I don't have a problem being the first one out because I'm a very nervous investor. I'm a very nervous swing trader. I'd rather just go right back to what I do best. But those momentum stocks, yeah, they all died. And the whole sector died collectively. And it was at the end of the market, the weed stocks. Speaking of weed, they finally started moving. Those
That
are
was the end.
the
That
only
marked the end of
sector
it.
You know the deal when you see Tilray Halt or something.
Yeah. There was nothing left to buy on earth when they're moving the weed stocks. Till
That marked the
you
official
got
end.
Nicola, which is finally back under $2.
That was a good sign too.
Get rid of that stock already. But when that stock's still trading actively, we're in a bullish frenzy. And it's like Carvana. That's the whole reason I was buying it back, under $10. When everyone's thinking everything's going to zero, that's a good time to take a shot on some of these names. But now everybody got excited at 58. That was time to get out of Carvana. And if you guys, that was one of my more epic calls, 5 to 58. People thought I was nuts that I thought Carvana might be the stock of the year. It turned out to be nice, and there was a really big moment from 58, several months ago. That's why I thought it'd get to 58. Anyway, it doesn't matter now. Right now, it's all about what's next. And for me, I'm liquid as liquid can be. Love the 5% CDs. I'm out there looking for CDs right now. Finally, Chase is 5% on your money. That's what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm searching for yield. My father and I are finally out of the queues after being part of the QQQ long trade since basically 2003. We are queueless. So right now,
queueless. That's
I'm
crazy.
Short the queues, naked calls. That's all I have on.
Wow.
The first time I'm not long the queues, or my family is not.
This is concerning because Kenny's been on the bull side of the queues forever, and it's very concerning when you're ringing that long-term register here and looking for yield. I mean, I like the yield you'll find. Tina is officially dead because there is all kinds of alternatives here. I had my banker, Kenny. I'm in Canada, obviously, and we have what's called a GIC, which is kind of like your treasuries almost up here, guaranteed by the banks. And my banker called 6% GIC for 13 months. 6%. Risk-free money. 6%. Now, the Bitcoiners will say it's not risk-free money because all your banks are going to fail. But, that doesn't normally happen. So pretty much, I'm going to call it risk-free money, these GIC, guaranteed by the government, not just your bank. It's guaranteed by the government. So 6%, man. I mean, the treasuries, I'm like, it's pretty good. 6% is not bad. Long-term performance of the stock market's like 8%.
Right.
So, 8%. I mean, you're getting 6 risk-free. That's not bad.
Right. But you know what? The funny thing is that 8 months ago, that was going to kill the market. And obviously it didn't. Saying, well, once we have an alternative, the market's going to be doomed, especially growth tech. And that was the complete opposite story. So again, most people got fooled for the last 6 or 7 months. Now we'll see who's in charge right now. I'm more excited about this market than ever because I love a good crash. I love a good correction. I love a down move. It shows that you have a skill set that you can make money in a down market, in a choppy market. Yeah. Up every day is fantastic for most people. But again, I like showing what I know. And what I know is how to trade and knowing when to get in and out of a stock. So again, it's great when it goes every day. Everybody's a genius. But I like the market that we're in right now. And, I will buy and hold again. You're talking about Palantir, 1375. Joel nailed it. That was one of our big plays from Friday. Never thought I'd see that stock. Once you got into the 19s and near the 20s on Palantir, I thought you'd get a pullback to 1750, maybe 15. I didn't think it would break under 15. 1375 is where we started the position in the first place. So we gave it another shot. I sold some puts on Palantir, some more puts on Palantir. I do like that stock. especially at that 1375 level. So right now we got back into some calls and got a little pound to it. Just dipping the toe. I like the 1375, but I wouldn't mind if it pulled back to 1250 because that one I do like long term. I hate using that word, but I do
I
like.
kind of like it too. We just talked about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we pulled back significantly. I actually had it, and this is like maybe my worst trade of the year. I was loaded up on this thing at around 850, and it just kept leaking all through April, all through May. And I'm like, you know what? I can't take it. I gotta eat it. You know, I did because I'm a risk manager, and then it blasted off like literally like a week later.
Yep. Same thing with Rivian. Rivian and Palantir, they got me out. I was like, you know what? Enough of these two. And then they turned, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to miss the turn just because I got beat short term right here. And I wound up buying back at 1375 and 14, just like Rivian. I mean, I got beat. That was my worst trade of the year. I was loading up at 16, 17, waiting for that to make that turn. And I got stopped out at 14. And if you could believe 1375 on Rivian, I got kicked to the curb. I think I basically bottom ticked I was the last guy out. And then they had some good news. And I was like, you know what? I got to buy this back at $20 because I'm not going to move to 28, which is what I thought was going to happen. And I'm waiting to buy this one back also. But I love the Palantir. And I like all the stocks that I were talking about 3 months ago. But I'm waiting for them to come back to those levels that I bought them in the first place.
Now, I wanted to ask you on AI, right? And how you feel about AI in these companies. Do you feel like it's just a gimmick, or do you feel like it's actually going to create revenue for these companies?
Oh, I think it's going to be a huge revenue, but you have to know where to pick and choose. Just like every other fad, you had superconductors back in the day. You had what was it? The not precious metals. You had the.
So this isn't the metaverse.
Yeah, it's again, it's just you got to sift through the rubble. There's going to be 3 or 4 of those real ones. Then there's going to be the midterm players. Then you got the ones that just are like AAOI, which I still think is moving because of 2 A's and an I in the symbol.
That will not be able to hold.
Right. So you're going to have to sift through which one is which. And you know what? As long as there's booms and busts, that's what I'm all about. I love that AI stock. I still don't know if they're an AI stock at AI and AAOI. AI was the first one. It was just coming out of 1250, 13. I was like, hey, what's this? Maybe this thing goes to 25 and next thing it goes to 50. So, again, to me, it's all price and momentum and VWAP. You know how I trade. Yeah. But when you get something like this whole bubble environment, we're going to just sit and wait for NVIDIA to tell us what to do, I guess, right? I mean, that's Wednesday night.
We're all doing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you on right here. What do you think? Just wait for it, or are you leaning anyway?
Well, the funny thing is the crowded trade is now thinking that it's going to be a sell-on news event. So now I'm thinking it's going to go up 10% because everyone's thinking it's going to sell off. Yeah, it should sell off. We're in the environment that they're selling the news. But now everybody's expecting it to sell off. So again, I will just play the sit and wait. If it gap it down and everyone's getting a little doom and gloom about it, and it reverses, oh boy, it's going to be a huge update. Same thing with the upside. If it comes out and everything's great and everyone's fooled and it sells off and rolls over, it's going to take this whole market down with it, which is kind of what I hope happens.
Love it,
short
Kenny.
seller.
Kenny Glick, you guys know him. Check out hitthebid.com. And also, if you guys want to learn a little bit about the 1-minute multi-day VWAP reversal trade, you might want to check out Kenny, of course. Always good to have you, the Warlock, and definitely enjoy it, man. Go be that weekday warrior. I know you got it, man. All right. Nothing like Kenny Glick. Definitely check him out. I threw up the link there, and definitely follow him on Twitter. And if you haven't checked out Hit the Bid, just go check it out. I even been in that room, guys. So just to let you guys know how much I like Kenny, definitely check out Hit the Bid. I threw up the link there. Let's get to the markets. How you looking right here, Dennis? We can talk a little bit. We can even do a little ticker time here.
The leak continues in the S&P. We're slowly starting to leak. We have some stocks starting to turn red here. When I came in this morning, everything was green. You're starting to see pockets of redness. But again, tech very strong here this morning. NVIDIA, Tesla leading the charge. Tesla, see that joke I made there? Leading the charge here. We've got a lot of other sectors here that are kind of just, they're flirting with going red. Oil's pretty strong here this morning. The banks were way up earlier. They're leaking now here too. So we have a slow leak here. The question is, do the buyers emerge? You know, are there people who got spooked by Friday's action because it was a pretty wicked rally in the afternoon? We bounced off the lows substantially. I do think you have a little bit of underneath demand here. So this is all just, you know, to Kenny's point here, though, this is all just the calm before the trading calm before the storm, though, because NVIDIA on Wednesday is going to be what moves the market in the next major direction. And Kenny made some fantastic points because everybody is expecting NVIDIA to sell off on earnings. We even said it. So, I mean, is there that possibility that, hey, they didn't say anything great, but they're going to buy it anyways? That's always a possibility. This market will do what we've learned from being traders for as long as we have. Is this sometimes market will do exactly what nobody expects. So nobody would expect NVIDIA to rip higher if the earnings are just not even that great. So maybe it could continue to go higher.
Yeah. I think one thing that I'm looking for in NVIDIA is for maybe a potential run into the report and then it gets hit on the report. So
that's what I think is going to happen, but you know, it'll be interesting. I think you're going to get that. I think we're on the same page. I think that run up into the report is happening right now.
Yeah, it's already happened. It started on Friday. Let's be honest.
It started on Friday. Now you're 30 points up from where we were basically 4 regular session hours ago. So, I mean, this is like a significant rally here. You get to 450, you're going to run a little bit of trouble there. It's not just clear sailing, but I think on dips, you're buying NVIDIA ahead of the report, not through the report. I'm not a gambler. I will not be holding NVIDIA long or short into the report. But on dips, I'm probably buying it ahead of the report to try to extract some of that pre-earnings alpha on the pre-earnings run-ups.
All right, guys, we'll do a little bit of ticker time here. We still got some other things we can go through, but of course, there's nothing really major. So I would prefer if you guys out there, this is your opportunity. Normally, we don't get to do this on a Monday. And you got Dennis and I here to take a look at some charts, to throw them up there. We could definitely take a look. One thing that will be interesting for me is I'm still watching the oil trade. That's going to be one to keep an eye out for. I did see today WTI getting back above the 82 spot. That's something to keep an eye out for. Of course, that's going to affect inflation and things like that. I think if oil can stay in the 80s, stay riding higher, this trade does make sense here. And we're starting to see some strength. XLE really pushing now towards 89.50. What do you think about oil, Dennis?
It's been resilient. It's been the trade. It's the one issue that maybe the Fed is going to have, because I'm going to the pumps here now. And I'm like, holy cow, $1.67 a liter in Canada here right now. We are approaching 52-week highs in that oil price here, at least at the pumps. So oil price itself has still been rallying here. The only oil stock that I do have left is PXD. I did sell my OXY. And OXY is resilient here as well and bouncing too. So oil's been holding up very, very well. I do have some Paris trades on here, XLE and XOP and a bunch of other oil stocks here, and I will trade out those at the open. But been very resilient, these oil stocks.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on those. I do see stocks in the chat, so let's go through some of those. We can have some fun today out there, guys. You guys smash the like for us going through a little bit of ticker time and going to stocks from you guys. I'm going to really quickly, we'll run through these. Dennis will make some comments. I'll make a quick one, and we'll keep rolling. Let's go to Para here. Paramount Global.
It's back down near support. I'm not a fan because the cord cutting is real and the cord cutting is killing these businesses. And long term, this stock has just been an absolute dog. Short term, it's a little bit, in a trading range here. You got support down at 14. So I would say near 14, maybe you have a bounce area there, but you're fighting the overall trend, and the overall trend is down.
Yeah, I don't like the story, and I don't like where the consumer is right now, where it's probably going to have to start making decision on streaming services. Let's keep going. Let's go PSX. That's an oil stock, but I'll do a really quick one on that one. This one's still looking good. Phillips 66. As you guys can see from this trend line, I was looking for it to get back above that. It just needs to hold the trend and continue going. One of the major things for me, just continue watching crude, that it doesn't drop back into the 70s, because that's easily how this trade could turn around. Let's go to Crocs here.
Wow, what a fall from grace. And this company obviously is one that makes some pretty good money. The PE is lower. It just can't pick it up. They had that pretty decent report back in April, and they hammered it. And then they hammered it again on the earnings. So twice hammered on the earnings, which the earnings weren't even that bad. But it doesn't matter. It's just out of favor here now. And people are expecting that, the earnings aren't going to hold up as well. I don't know what to say. The stock is below $100. It's hard to get bullish the stock until it's
Yeah.
above, at least above $100. Bears firmly in control.
Yeah, classic head and shoulders pattern here, and then cracking the neckline just tells you need to recover the neckline. You
Yeah.
want this stock to come back. That's the 111, 110 area. If it doesn't come back to there, it ain't looking good here. Let's keep going. This is an interesting one. Hood. We haven't talked about Hood in a long time. What about the Robin Hood?
I have not looked at Robinhood in a long time either.
Yeah, that's why it caught my
There's
attention
got
too.
there. I do, like I've said this before, I do think Robinhood is not a zero. I think some brokerage at some point in time would buy it. I just don't know what that price is. And, evaluation doesn't make any sense because I don't even know. Do they make money now? Have they ever made money? We went through this exercise before. I'm just not a fan of companies that don't make money. $9 billion, but there's a lot of customers there, even though a lot of these customers maybe, aren't the biggest clients in the world. I think there's value here somewhere, but it's hard to price it when the company doesn't make money.
Yeah, it's really hard when the company is going sideways, not giving me a lift. And a lot of times, yeah, this gives you an opportunity to go into maybe investment style, but I just don't see the upside. And the upside maybe is a buyout, but where's the buyout? What is it? 15? Is it 20? I don't know. We'll see what happens there on Hood. Let's keep going. Let's get another stock in here. Let's go to ACHR, a new Kathy favorite. She's been loading and loading and loading and loading on.
Well,
this
I don't even
one.
know what this is. I don't.
This
I've
is
seen it
Archer
before.
Aviation. Dennis, this is the little flying helicopter that delivers you. So no longer you will have to take the Uber. You'll take a little flying helicopter, little EV flying helicopter.
Fun. Yeah, I don't know the story here at all. So I
think it's just
stock.
future.
I see it pop into my into my filters every once in a while because I have filters for big movers and it'll pop in there every once in a while, but I have no idea what it is. I'm not sure I've ever made a trade on it. I say, the trend's your friends. It's strong. It's been holding up well in a market that's been selling off, which is a good sign. Above 7, it starts to break out again. So it's somewhat interesting.
All right, Oracle. This one's been hot as of late. You guys can see it here on the daily chart. It was strong when the market was weak, so I'm going to keep an eye on it here. Seems like it doesn't want to get into this gap zone. It went in for like a tiny second, so it doesn't want to take that down. And a lot of times when I see stocks rebound off of that area, I start maybe looking for a long. At least just other than just this chart, it looks good.
I had Oracle in my long-term portfolio for almost 20 years. A long time, and it was excellent. I've finally just kind of I've got rid of it last year, and maybe I sold too soon because then you have this all of a sudden Oracle's an AI play. I don't see how it's a pure AI play or anything like that, but it got the AI bubble going and everybody's excited. I mean, the stock's got a forward PE at 20, so it's not expensive. It's been a great long-term holding. I think you want to pull back though, like a serious pullback before you're like looking at coming in something like this, because it always seems like Oracle will give you another opportunity. It's not one that just goes straight up. Over the years, it's kind of been a painful hold because sometimes, it falls off 20, 30% from the highs. You're like, why didn't I sell it? But then it always seems to claw its way back. So I think Oracle, if you're a patient buyer, I think you get it cheaper.
All right. And Pablo wants to check out the favorite in AMD. I know Dennis will have some comments. You still got this, right?
I sold half my AMD up at 115 or 116, right in there. So, would I reload that half if it got down in the 90s? Probably. I still think AMD is going to be a decent play. It maybe just got overdone there for a bit. Forward P is still 38 on this thing. When I was buying it, forward P was a little bit lower than that, I thought. Like I was looking at the thing. I thought it was 27, 28, but maybe doing the math, 106.90. I don't know if the forward P expectations maybe just came down a little bit because when I was using the Benzinga Pro before. But anyways, 38 forward P. It's not a cheap stock. Is it an AI play? I think it's the poor man's NVIDIA. I do think it's the poor man's NVIDIA. What's going to move AMD is NVIDIA. So, there's no sense even doing a technical on this because all that matters is Wednesday night when NVIDIA reports for AMD.
Exactly. I was going to say that, Dennis, you just wrapped it up. It's just how NVIDIA goes. If NVIDIA rockets today, I might look to play AMD to the upside, but it would be a rent.
It moves
playing the momentum.
This is a pair trade, even though NVIDIA has massively outperformed AMD as of late. This is still, this is a classic pair, NVIDIA AMD.
Yeah. All right, it's 8:59. We'll start wrapping it up here, guys. We'll bring you guys over to live trading in a second. I'll go to the wrap up here for Dennis. How do you see this week, my friend?
I think you're going to see maybe a little bit of tech strength here ahead of NVIDIA, and then all that matters is NVIDIA. So we do have some other reports. Snowflake, Splunk on Wednesday. We do have Macy's going to report on Tuesday. Baidu's going to report on Tuesday, I believe, as well. Kohl's is going to report, Ulta, Workday. I'm just looking through Marvell, Nordstrom. There's a few earnings. Zoom tonight. That's probably your only major report that people are going to be looking at tonight. Again, I'll say on Zoom, I think expectations are very low. And if they say anything okay, I wouldn't be surprised if Zoom rallies on this report. So I'm kind of bullish Zoom going into this report.
I agree with you. I think that this is one of those days where it's going to be interesting, right? Because if they just take down the markets today, I mean, that will definitely be where I feel like the bears really start coming in. But now I think, like always, it's never just one way in the markets. We could have a little bit of a bounce as people start expecting NVIDIA, right? And so I think that's what it is. That's going to be your bellwether this week. Whatever happens to NVIDIA, I feel the market goes. We'll see what happens, team. Like always, you guys can keep up with Triple D Trader on Twitter. Ask him any questions. And you see that shirt. You guys can always reach out to Spoos.
I put it on because Joel's not going to be here on the back half of the show. So I put it on just for Joel here. So there you go.
It's a volatile puppy, baby.
I know.
And
Every
Dennis,
once in a while I throw it on
the
there.
chat said about the our intro where you say you'd buy that stock for a penny.
Yeah.
That's hood for you. You'd buy it, but at a penny.
I'd buy it at a penny.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like always, we'll be here with you guys, pre-market prep. Thank you, Dennis, for always joining us. Go do what you do best, my friend. Go get to your trading action. Now to bring you guys over to live trading, that's coming up next. And I got a big surprise for you guys coming up on live trading. You guys don't want to miss it. And of course, catch me later this week on, of course, our book club. We will be continuing going with Market Wizards. Going to get into 3 top interviews. We're almost done. We're about halfway through this big book. So if you guys want to keep going through with the book club and upping your skills, like always, you guys can hit the link in the chat here. I'll give you guys that link right now, and then I'll bring you guys over to live trading. That's starting up next. Don't go anywhere. We got a great week for you guys, like always, right here on Benzinga. Going to bring you guys some extra stuff, like always, and then catch me later today on Start Swing Trade, 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. See you later today, guys, and hit the like. Always good to have Kenny Glick, and definitely check out Hit the Bid. We'll see you next time right here on Pre-Market Prep. Now stick around. Live trading starting up right now.